Hi all, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a sketchbook tour of a sketchbook I started in October and ended in December. Now this sketchbook is a Pentalic 4x6. I'll make sure to link that below in the description, and I was pleasantly surprised with this sketchbook. It is one that I bought on Amazon. You guys actually picked this size out. I had requested help in September to help me figure out what sketchbook to use, and we finished it here at the end of December. So without further ado, here is the beginning of my Inktober spread. The Inktober beginning, I decided to start off the whole sketchbook with a couple little nuances from the drawing prompts list that I created, and yeah, super fun. I did this in the big portions of the Inktober are in Ohuhu markers, and the rest is just in a fine liner. And then here are the drawing prompts. I'd actually put this out on Instagram in the event you guys wanted to follow along with me. I just had seen a bunch of different prompts lists and wasn't fully in love with all of them, and so decided to create my own with some of the favorites that I had found. And the very first day I chose to do insect. Now this I did with Micron, like the microliners, and then I did some like pointillism to be able to get the back details of this beetle, and was super happy with how that turned out. I was trying to have my Inktober be only in ink, so only black and white ink actually is how it ended up being, and yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised with how that turned out. Now day two is something vintage, so I have this cast iron Mulligan Police piggy bank, so you put like the coin in the back, in my office, and thought that that would be fun for something vintage. I have a lot of vintage around my house, so it's easy to find. And day three was witch, so I did a character design of like a fun witch with a skirt, some high socks, sneakers, and she has eyeliner, and did that with Ohuhu markers and fine liners. And then here I did flowers, so just a bunch of little doodles of flowers, and super happy with how that turned out. This was kind of the point where I wanted to challenge myself to not only just use ink, but to keep my ink like black or like monochromatic. So I am normally a very colorful person, so having a monochromatic theme was certainly a challenge, and I ended up keeping that throughout the whole sketchbook. So, and this was a day 4 bonus drawing. I had so much fun doing the previous page that I wanted to do this one as well. Ooh, this is probably one of my favorite sketches out of my whole sketchbook. So this was Scorch. So I have fireplace, firewood, and then candles, and then the match that lit the fireplace was scorched, or the match that lit the candles. Either way, I am so happy with how that turned out. Yeah, I actually plan on redoing this one, but doing it in color, just because I'd love to see if it's as stunning in color as it is in black and white. It's actually why I really like the drawing prompts list, is because I would have never normally drawn that. And then this was day 5, a bonus drawing. I really like doing these mandalas. It's kind of what I do when I don't know what to draw, so you'll probably see a few of those. And on to day 6, which was zodiac sign. So I decided to do the Sagittarius. Oh my goodness, why can't I think of this mythical creature? A centaur. I hope that's right. Otherwise I'll make sure to note that. But with her bow and arrow, and then she has her hair braided, and just really happy with how that turned out. And then I guess side note, so as you can see, I ended up only doing one side of the page because the markers did bleed through quite a bit. They didn't ghost all the way over to the other page, but after the first couple, I did decide to actually start putting stuff especially for like the scorch, I put a piece of paper in between just to make sure I didn't damage that next page. And then this is day 6, bonus drawing. So just random doodles. I feel like everybody has that one thing that they go back to when they're not sure what to draw, and random mandala repeated pattern style drawings are my go-to. Ooh, and then this is another bonus drawing. So I just used a black Ohuhu marker and like created these kind of uniform shapes. And then if you look in there, there's a bunch of designs in the space. So different, fun. It's definitely just a nice way to release. And then day 7, cat. Really like this cat peeking out from behind some greenery. I am obsessed with flowers or all things floral, and then like different plants. So doing that, I like it. All right, and then day 8 is book. And I am an avid reader, and I have always enjoyed the Harry Potter series. So I thought I'd read or have a girl reading while having, you know, Harry Potter-esque things just popping out, like she's fully engrossed with her nice round Harry Potter style glasses. I also think that's a super successful drawing and isn't something that I would normally draw, but I love the way it looks. And then day 9 was pumpkin. I didn't really have a whole lot of time to draw that day, so I just sketched out some random pumpkin designs. This is also around the time where I was looking at what my kids and I could do for when we carved our pumpkins. Oh, skipping a page. And day 10 is candle, and as you can tell, I was definitely really inspired by the scorch, so had to redo a candle with some candle wax and the glow off the wall. Day 11 was vines, so I did some roses with their thorny vines interconnecting them. So the background was in an Ohuhu marker, and everything else was done in my micro liners. And then day 11, another bonus drawing, and you guessed it, another mandala. I really like these. Just fun to do repeating patterns. It's nice to draw without actually like really thinking. Ooh, day 12. So full disclosure, I kind of forgot what I drew some of these days. So going back through, this is kind of like a little surprise for myself. Anyway, day 12, I digress, is raccoon. And so I drew a raccoon eating out of the trash bin. So he has his pizza. I love pizza, so why not? An apple core. He also has a donut. You know, 2 of my favorite foods, pizza and donuts. And then he's wearing an Always Hungry shirt. I thought that was very fitting. I also have an Always Hungry shirt that I like to wear when I'm working out. So Mr. Trash Panda with his Always Hungry. And day 13 was a potion. And so I decided to create a potion of talent, because wouldn't we all just be able to take the easy button and jump ahead by taking a little potion? And day 14 is fly. This is another one of my favorites. So I decided to do a bat in the theme of Halloween, since it was for Inktober. And then I only colored in a portion of the background and then had the stars and just a completely white out tree. Very, very happy with how this turned out. And day 15 was lantern, and another vintage item that I have in my house. These are actually both the little bank guy and this lantern are on my bookshelf, actually like right there. So just did that with some hash marks, and I feel like that's fulfilled the need. All right, and then day 16 is broken. So I did a broken pencil. And then day 16, bonus drawing, just another mandala, fun little design. I love these, especially in the microliners, and I mean, October was a pretty busy month, so it wasn't always easy. Like, I struggled with what to do for broken. First thing I thought was broken pencil, but then I still felt like sketching, which is how this happened. Day 17 is Storm. I was inspired by this by watching the movie Twister. My kids were obsessed with Twister for a few weeks in October and wouldn't stop watching it, so I did Storm, so a little twister. There's a house and a field and the lightning, and then I did it in a bottle. I don't know if it's still a thing, but when I was a kid, we used to like take 2 bottles and you like connect them. So like 2 2-liter bottles, have a little bit of water in one, connect them, tape the tops together, and then you like shake it and it creates a tornado in a bottle. I know, weird. But I always like super fond memory of childhood. So I did a storm in a bottle. Day 18 was Moon. So pretty simple, just moon off the water, using Hoo markers and the fine liners, as well as some white gel pen. Day 19 was Drink, and for me, I am never far from coffee or espresso, so decided to draw my little handheld espresso maker and a cup of espresso. Day 19 bonus drawing. So this here was actually the first time that I had played around with a fountain pen. So I bought a black fountain pen. So that was fun getting used to, just because it does make such a bold mark, which is different than like my Bic pens that I draw with frequently. So this was me just kind of messing around and trying to get used to the fountain pen, just because it is different than typical supplies I use. But I was trying to push myself to use different types of inking material in this sketchbook. Day 20, mythical creature. So I did a kraken who is done in pointillism, and then there's a boat and huge waves and like little flecks of water as the kraken's arms come up. Now, I was trying different ink, and I don't know if you can tell, but the background is a different color of black. So I bought these markers off of Amazon, and they're, I don't want to say shimmery, but in person, that is a super shimmery background. When it's further away, I don't feel like you can tell as much the difference, but I don't really like the background as far as for the underwater. Other than that, I really like this drawing. And then day 21 was hands, and that's just done in some Bic ballpoint pen. Those are probably my favorite pens to draw with. I am not sponsored. Well, I'm not sponsored by anyone, but other than myself, that is. But I thought I'd do some hands in the Bic, since I hadn't really used those at the beginning of this sketchbook, and I was already so close to the end. Day 22 is face, and I decided to do a moth with a face, or at least a partial face. So you have like the eye, and then I kind of felt like these little guys, so like a one-eyed monster, so an eye and a mouth, an eye and a mouth. And then if you look down here, you have 2 eyes and a mouth, so kind of just repeating different faces. Hopefully that comes across. I really like that. I think it's pretty. I think it'd make a very pretty tattoo, assuming that you had like, you know, the whole thing, maybe not just half. But I like that. It turned out really well. I was nervous when I was sketching it out, and this was done in a Hoo marker, fine liners, and some white gel pens just to crisp up some of that white. Day 23 is tree, so I did a microliner tree and did it in a circle, just because I was trying to push myself out of doing the normal cliche, just basic tree, and that's kind of what this whole sketchbook was, pushing myself to stay black and white, and then pushing myself to not just draw a typical thing. So I like how these leaves kind of look fluffy, like a super fluffy tree. And day 24 was stone. My son says it looks more like a crystal. So yes, crystal, stone, I don't know. I thought of this style when I thought of stone, but he's probably right. That's probably crystal. Maybe this doesn't count. Either way, I still really like it, and this was done with that fountain pen. Day 25 was mask, so I did a masquerade mask, and this was a little bit harder. I decided to not like do an underdrawing with like pencil to like line it out on the page, and I did the eyes first. And after I did the eyes, I realized I was really close to the center edge, so probably should have at least lined out the eyes before I did them in marker, because once I had it there was no erasing. Day 26 is the 90s, and the 90s for me makes me think of rollerblading. So I did this super fun rollerblade with cross hatching. I did this with my Muji pen. I love Muji pens. Once again, something that I got on Amazon, and I originally bought them back when I was a very avid like dot planner, and found that they were also really good for drawing. Very consistent marks. Day 27 is the tarot card, and I did the Empress, and I am also super happy with how this turned out. I have all the little decorations along the edge, and I plan to do this again, but in color, just once again. Curious to see how this would look if it weren't in black and white, but either way, super happy with how this turned out. Day 27, bonus drawing. So this is a ball jar with some lightning bugs in it, and then lightning bugs flying through the sky and through the grass. Once again, really love how that turned out. Another day 27 bonus drawing. I do get in fits where like I just can't stop drawing. And so this is just some circles that I put on the paper, and then I went along and filled them in. So this was in a floral theme using both Ohuhu markers and the fine liners. So floral, different flowers in each bubble with dots interconnecting the bubbles. And I think that would make a really fun fabric print. Might be something I do. Day 28. Ooh, the self-portrait. So I love drawing faces. I hate drawing myself. So I decided to give myself a limit. So I gave myself a time limit of, I wanted to keep it under 5 minutes, but I gave myself a grace of 10 and didn't do an underpainting. And by underpainting, I mean like sketch it out in pencil. My eyes are too close. They need to come out a bit, and honestly I think if they had come out a bit it would look more like me. Right now I don't feel like it looks like me, but yeah, I sketched it out and then I didn't like how boring it looked, and so I added the cross hatches to try and amp it up. You don't have to like everything in your sketchbook, right? I mean, half of it's exploration and practice. And then day 29, Scarecrow. I think this is super funny. He looks like half crazed, half happy, and then he has little crows sitting on his arms with a really worn jacket, and I think it would make a fun sticker like around Halloween. But making it almost to the end of this, I really fell in love with doing the black and white. Ooh, day 30, number 5. I was watching Short Circuit with my kids and realized that I only had 2 drawings left and movie character was 1, and so why can't number 5 be my movie character, right? And I did this in the Muji pen just because I had it right there next to me after working on this guy. And so, yeah, I love it. And I loved going back through my sketchbook with my kids and my youngest going, number 5. And then day 30, bonus drawing. I forgot I did this. So just a random drawing of a flower with some leaves. Day 31. Oh, I forgot that this is how I ended the Inktober. I don't like this drawing. Something surreal. So I decided to do a surreal drawing of it's raining cats and dogs. I mean, it's funny, it's cute, but not my favorite drawing of all times. Yeah, we'll just pretend like that's not there. So that's the end of Inktober. Super happy with how that turned out, and that really motivated me to continue drawing in the black and white. All right, now to continue on. So I love drawing flowers. I love painting flowers. So continued using my Muji pen and drew some beautiful anemone. I think that's how you say it. I mean, that's how Dory in Finding Nemo says it. You say it the same way, right? An anemone. So really like this drawing. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say. And then I did another Muji drawing with a charcuterie board. I love charcuterie boards, and there's a place near where I live called Bari Italian, and they make a really good charcuterie board, and so I had to draw that as well. If you catch a theme here, it may be that I did a lot of drawings with a Muji pen, and so this is a King Pro Tea flower, and I had bought a couple of them and then realized that the vases I have at home are not big enough to fit a couple King Pro Teas because they're massive. If you don't know how big they are, I would highly suggest looking at them. I mean, they're similar to like the size of a medium-sized sunflower, in my opinion. And then another one of the like random drawings, repeating patterns in the fine liner. Oh, I should have looked through this before I started filming this. So I decided to make a frog house. So you got like some little frogs and the lily pads and their flowers on the lily pads, and then a frog house, because you know, where do frogs sleep at night? They need a safe place to sleep underneath the stars, right? I love it. I mean, it's great. Not everybody will understand, but I think it's great. And then I did a rose back to the Muji pen and just really enjoying playing around with the cross hatching and drawing a couple roses. At this point, I was falling in love and like trying to figure out why I didn't do all sketchbooks in black and white, because it's freeing. You're carrying less supplies with you. So another Muji drawing of beetles with some crotch hatching. Yeah. Nice thing about drawing in black and white is I feel like I carry less supplies than what I normally do. Ooh, and then I did a mixtape of music. So I thought that that would be fun for a cassette tape. I hope that people on here know what a cassette tape is. You have to like rewind your music if it got all garbed up like that, or sometimes it was just easier to do that if you didn't have like the fancy thing that would rewind it for you. Anyway, that's how I grew up. Listening to music, not trying to date myself. Ooh, yeah. I knew this was in here somewhere. So I decided to draw a office, because I feel like a lot of cubicles are like mazes, kind of like what you would put a mouse in until they could find their cheese. So done with microliners, but you have your hallways, with like arrows, because sometimes I feel like it's really hard to find your way around. Got a printer. We got a fiddle fig. In case you didn't know, I love plants, so I thought I'd add some of my plant love in here. A little cafeteria. And then up here you have some cubicles with people and have their stuff hanging. And then over here another cubicle, a nice little conference room that you could use. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of office buildings look like mouse traps or mouse mazes or mazes and labyrinths. There we go. They look like labyrinths because I haven't been in a whole lot of offices that have great signs to tell you where to go next. Yeah, I love it. Makes me smile. Ooh, and then I drew a moth on a flower. Really simple. I was trying to not do like the same thing every time, so I was trying to like challenge myself with supplies, challenge myself with the technique. So I did a very simplistic drawing. And then back to my random circle drawings with repeating patterns. Very therapeutic to do. I'd love to know what you guys draw in your sketchbooks that you consider to be therapeutic. And then my ballpoint pen drawings. So going back to that Bic, and I know I keep saying Bic, but I've tried a lot of ballpoint pens, and the Bic cheapo ones that are like 4 cents a piece are my favorite. So just a portrait, and wanted to really just focus on the face, not on what they were wearing. And there is no underdrawing. I literally start out, you can see kind of where the circle is, but I start out with a circle and then kind of roughly guess where the chin is and go from there. There is no erasing. All lines are final. And back to the Muji pen, which I fell obviously in love with during this sketchbook, just because then it was one pen and sketchbook, and then find something to draw. So this is a foxglove. I love foxgloves. I've tried to get them to grow in my backyard multiple times, and they die at they don't come back. So I have given up. I just look at them from afar. Ooh, yeah. I forgot about this, and I love this drawing. So wanted to do a simple style setup as far as for like an artist studio, and keep all my lines and color choices pretty minimal, but to still get the point across of a messy desk with lots going on and a fiddle fig, because you know, who doesn't want to have a fiddle fig? And they'd probably love that window as long as it wasn't drafty, because sometimes they can be divas. Oh yeah, and then I actually have these are IKEA, oh my goodness, IKEA plastic bag holders, but they hold rolls of vinyl super well. Highly suggest if you do anything with vinyl. And then another mandala drawing. They're just fun. And after I got done, I realized that these kind of look like dogs. So you have like your eyes, your nose, and then like the sides of their mouth. No? Just me? I always feel like I can see faces in the drawings that I do. Ooh, another ballpoint pen drawing. This is probably my favorite of the ballpoint pen drawings that I have in this sketchbook, but a girl with glasses on, and then I used ballpoint pen and then just my white gel pens to be able to add in the reflections from the windows. And that was just a photo I found off Pinterest. And then these are, oh man, I don't remember. I can't remember where I have this photo from. I want to say that those are Black Eyed Susans, if I remember correctly. I don't remember if they're out at my mom's house. I don't know. I probably have that wrong. I don't think that they're black-eyed Susans now that I say it. Anyway, I digress. Back to the fact that these are Muji drawing. I did have a pen die on me throughout the course of the sketchbook because I used it so often. And yeah, that didn't stop me. I just kept drawing. Ooh, another Muji drawing. I think this is actually the one where my pen died and I had to like find where my stash of other ones was. But an iguana face. I hope that's an iguana because I feel like people are going to correct me. I think it's an iguana. But I love how that turned out. All the cross-hatching, the circles, and another ballpoint pen drawing. I love this one too, just the other girl. I think the glasses are really does it for me. But another picture off of Pinterest. Beautiful girl. And another mandala drawing. Surprise, surprise. I'm sure you guys are getting tired of me saying that at this point. I'd love to know how many are actually in this sketchbook. Guess I could go back and count. Ooh, this was a fun experiment. So I wanted to push myself in the sketchbook, and I haven't really worked with ink. So I put like drops of ink on this page and then used a straw and like blew it across the page because I wanted that to like inspire my drawing. And then I literally hated it, and all I could think of is that it looked like electricity. So I decided to draw some bulbs. Definitely not my favorite piece, but your sketchbook is there to try out new ideas and get you thinking. So you don't have to love everything. And then not quite a mandala, but just random sketching, kind of like almost looks like wood at the top. And then I just kept going. Honestly, I like it until here. Like I wish I had stopped there and not kept going, because then like this ruins it. But ooh, and my Christmas tree. Had to do my Christmas tree, was trying to figure out what to draw one day, and was sitting on our couch and looked over and saw my Christmas tree and back to that Muji pen. So had to catch all of the, like my kids wanted candy canes, so we put candy canes everywhere. We have a little Marvin the Martian, a camper, a donut, surprise, surprise, a little leg lamp, because that's my husband's favorite Christmas movie, is A Christmas Story. A bee, a little, I don't know, construction equipment thingy. That's super technical terms there. And yeah, really happy with how this turned out. Especially since it's in black and white, but it's a super colorful Christmas tree because I love color. And then I decided to do just an R with some inner workings of some pretty designs for Rachel. Oh, and this was when we were in Minneapolis for my cousin's wedding. There are so many beautiful churches up there, and this was some of like the architecture. I just think the stonework and everything is stunning, and I thought these looked like little spaceships, and I obviously didn't finish it, but I loved all of the churches up there. They were just beautiful. My mom and I went on a walk one morning, and they stunning. I'm speechless. Anyway, I digress. Not a finished drawing. Not all your drawings have to be finished. This doesn't need to be like a sketchbook full of masterpieces. Part of it's just for exploration. And then this drawing, now I guess I will say that was the one downside of doing the ink, is that it did bleed through to quite a few pages. Note to self for in the future. But then I did some, I don't know, minnows, fish, going after a little worm who is screaming for his life. Pretty basic, pretty simple, but I love it. And another Muji drawing, just of some flowers, nothing crazy. And then this was from a day where I went to have lunch at my favorite coffee shop, which is Dash Coffee here in Cedar Rapids. And their coffee, their cappuccinos, their cortados, so delicious. Their scones are phenomenal, and they have a bunch of really good breakfast sandwiches. So if I'm not eating there, I'm definitely grabbing stuff from there weekly for sure. But this was their setup, like this is their pastry area, and then they have like their menus up here, and then these were just some cups. And this is a gnome, in case. Top of the gnome hat, you couldn't see the face. Obviously didn't finish everything, but going back to my love for plants. And then we just have some circles with some random drawings. And yeah. I always think these are fun because they can be whatever you want them to be, but they don't have to be anything like fancy. Not that anything else in here has to be fancy. And then I did like some vines with some flowers. And then there's like bumblebees in there flying around, a ton of thorns. See like a bumblebee flying around. Getting close to the end. Oh, I forgot this one was here too. So I get really bad migraines. I've had them since my 20s. And one day my son asked me what a migraine was like for me. So this is our fireplace and our TV and our entertainment stand in our living room. And my migraines a lot of times are, I'll have like spots where I can't see. So normally it's in like the direct center of my vision that I can't see. This is normally really fuzzy. It's not necessarily like white. And then everything else that I'm not directly looking at is crisp. But there'll still be like specks of white throughout. And then I get like white rippling lines, kind of like waves on the outsides of my vision. So I was just trying to figure out a way to like represent to my kids what a migraine's like for mommy. Oh yeah, my strawberry. And then I wanted to challenge myself and see if I could draw a strawberry with just black and white. And so I have some Hoo-Hoo markers, white gel pens, and then like some fine liners. This was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I think you can obviously still tell it's a strawberry, but if there had been color, I feel like this would be a lot more successful. And then more flowers. Surprise! So just did some flowers, kind of like they were all growing together, and not that these all grow together. And I guess technically cattails aren't a flower, or maybe they are. I don't think they are, but just fun little sketches. And then this is also from a picture I had taken when we were in Minnesota. We took our kids to the Science Museum there. If you live in the St. Paul area, their Science Museum is worth every penny. It's 5 floors. There are activities for the kids, but when you walk in, there's this T-Rex and then this like bird hanging on the ceiling. And I saw it and I was like, ooh, I want to draw that. So used my emoji pens and some Hoo-Hoo markers to fill in the bigger sections, but had a blast. I mean, we spent, I think, 5 hours there. So it was a lot of fun and our kids were exhausted afterwards. And then my final page. So I thought it'd be fun to finish it out with the end and draw a couple flowers and just do some really fun lettering. So nothing super fancy, but I thought it was a great way to end this sketchbook. I feel like this sketchbook pushed me so much further than some of my other sketchbooks, just because, I mean, when you are having a drawing block, I feel like the prompts list is a great tool to be able to figure out what to draw, or like looking at an idea generator out on like Google or something. So helpful. But yeah, this is my first ever only black and white sketchbook and I love it. I'm so tempted to do it again, but I'd be lying to you. I miss the color. This is great. It's so beautiful, especially where did Scorch go? Love it. Day 5. So inspiring. And this sketchbook, for the price point that it is, I mean, this was in my purse. Let me close this up. This was in my purse for 3 months. This was October through the end of December. And it is not that beaten up. I don't normally like soft covers, but I mean, the binding's even still good on it. Look at that. So yeah, if you're looking for a smaller sketchbook, this price point, I love the bright white paper. I like that it's not yellow. I don't remember the exact how many like GSM it is. I'll try and link that. But it held up to a lot of different materials. About the only material that I use more frequently that isn't in here is gouache or like watercolor. So I'm not sure how it'll hold up to that. But yeah. Anyway, well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you are new to the channel, my name is Rachelle Byers, and I hope you consider subscribing or hitting that like button. It really does help. And at the very least, I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your day. Thank you so much, and happy 2023.